Hi everyone, Mike McConville here one more time, Stratford, Ontario, Canada. I have this absolutely gorgeous Clarence white commemorative edition, flat top with a beautiful Adirondack spruce tall. It's a gorgeous guitar. But as gorgeous as it is, you still want it to be nice to play and to hopefully play in tune. This isn't a comment on the quality or construction of the guitar. This is a comment on the fact that the mechanical load of the strings on any guitar is relentless. The wood will kind of ebb and flow with seasonal change and humidity or lack of humidity. So I just want to walk you through it because there's a few things that I need to take care of with this guitar. So the open E string and then the note F. There's our A, B flat, there's our D, and again, not too bad, it's about 2 cents sharp. There's our B, about 3 cents sharp. And about 5 cents sharp. Okay, so let's look at the octaves. So here's our low E and octave. Okay, it's about 6 cents sharp. Here's our A. Little tiny bit sharp. Also sharp. It's a little bit flat. Octave. That's very close, 1 cent sharp. Very good, that's bang on that first string. Okay, let's do another intonation check. So here's the note B, 7th fret. B and octave B. A on the 5th fret. A little bit flat. Okay, 7th fret, A string. Okay, a little flat and corresponding octave. Even flatter. Okay, there's our open D and 7th fret. A sharp and octave. Flat. 7th fret, 3rd string. Good. And corresponding octave. Quite flat. And a little bit sharp. And the octave. Flat. 7th fret, 1st string. And corresponding octave. Also flat. I'm doing this for a reason because I'm about to completely recalibrate this guitar. All of the tuning that I just went through just now, I will repeat all of these tuning checks again. So I've taken the time to do this. I have not touched this guitar yet. When I finish, we'll come back and recheck. Okay, next, we're going to check the frets up here at the top end. Okay. It's good. It's good here, right? No rocking there. No rocking there, only on the bass side. Okay, so we're going to spot check all the way up. And we'll go at that neck to body junction. Good there, good there. Okay. On the bass side again, bit of rocking. Let's go center of the neck. Looks good. You know, there's a little bit of fall off there. That's a good thing, actually. I like to see that. But there's enough of a discrepancy right here at that neck to body junction where the dovetail goes in that if we want to drop that action down where it's nice and silky smooth to play, we're going to need to dress those frets at the neck junction. So I'll take a piece of chalk and just kind of mark these high spots. And where was it here? 2nd fret on the bass side. These are all the things that prevent you from dropping the action down to bring the instrument up to its maximum level of playability. So there's just a few irritating spots that are preventing us from dropping the action down. Like you've heard me saying in so many other videos, it's not just that when you drop the action down it makes the guitar easier to play, but it does wonders for the intonation. And you're going to see very clearly when I illustrate after the fret dress, compensated nut, compensated saddle, and drop that action down, this will play perfectly in tune, end to end. And not only that, but it'll be really nice to play too. Right now, it's a bit of a struggle, and that's one of the reasons the customer dropped it off. He was really struggling to play the thing. Well, she'll be smooth as silk when we're done. Hey, everybody, want to shout out my thanks to all the Patreon subscribers and my former students who've sort of jumped on the compensated nut bandwagon. I have this Clarence white commemorative edition flat top Martin guitar that we're putting a compensated nut in, and I thought I'd bring you in close because, really, this is definitely the trickiest compensated nut that you'll come across. And the initial slots are cut. I'm just getting ready to cut the initial compensated values. A couple more things I want to point out about this particular guitar. So this guitar does have an adjustable truss rod. In fact, it's a two-way truss rod. You need a long Allen wrench to get at it. I want to show you, I figured this out many, many years ago. So this was initially a T-handled wrench. It kind of cut half of it off, and it's long enough that it allows me to kind of slip in through the hole in that head brace and get the that Allen key into place. The nice thing is you actually have kind of a handle, so lots of torque to be able to tighten or loosen. Got the lay of the neck as best I could, but as I mentioned earlier, we still have this issue here, and we still have this issue here. So no matter how much adjustment I'd made with that two-way truss rod, this is as straight as we could possibly get this neck. So now we're going to dress and then finish up the values on that compensated nut. Just wanted to point that out. Kind of a horse of a different color here. Clarence White's original guitar that this was modeled after definitely didn't have an adjustable truss rod. I'm sure there was reinforcement in there, but it wasn't adjustable. So this one is adjustable, which is a good thing. I've had a couple of this model through my shop in the last few years, and the last ones were glued in, but this, it's a through route, but the saddle is not actually glued in, which is a good thing because it allows you to kind of adjust it. The action needs to be dropped down, and as you saw earlier in this video, we need to intonate the bridge, dress the frets, drop that action down, turn this into the dream machine it's meant to be. Here's another Patreon exclusive video. I could immediately feel that resistance on that second fret. I know that people use crowning files to take that fret down, but the problem is it's a domino effect. You file this one down, you go too far, then you got to go to the next one. The best idea is always go along the trajectory of the string. CNC machines were designed to do, but I guess my argument is you don't need a CNC machine to do it. I've been doing it for years with a TechDeck, and my level 1 students do this. As you've heard me say so many times before, I'm very big on the vernacular, just using stuff that's lying around. Tongue depressors and masking tape and syringes from the local pharmacy for glue and for lubricants. Very few specialized tools other than the actual TechDeck workstation. The TechDeck, as you know, and everyone who's got one knows, that it's designed to handle something as common as a Martin Dreadnought guitar to something as bizarre as this 57 American Schuster Purgatory guitar. I mean, that is an odd shape to handle, but it's no issue for the TechDeck. As you saw, I did a complete setup, compensated nut, no issue at all. Never gave a second thought. It was held firmly in the most advantageous position for every single job I needed to do. So this didn't need a lot of leveling, but it made the difference from the action being hiked up to kind of get rid of the buzzing to being able to drop the action down so it's silky smooth to play. Obviously, you definitely higher action than you would on a Tele or a Strat or a Les Paul, but you can set it up wherever you want it. So Jody's going to notice a huge difference. He'll be playing this guitar on a regular basis. And that's it. So all the high spots are taken care of. We'll do that recrown and polish, buff these out to a mirror shine, and we can get onto our compensated nut. Here we go, fret perfection. Now that these frets are perfect, we can kind of carry on with the intonated bridge. As all the Les Paul videos you saw me do, a buffer and a drill or a die grinder like I use, it does a perfect job. You just don't pause or linger over the binding because you will melt it if you don't keep that buffer moving. Just want to give you a heads up on that. So we're obviously talking a much more valuable guitar than that Chibson Les Paul that you just saw. This is a limited edition commemorative Clarence White D28, but the same basic principles apply. So I've got the guitar tuned right now, all 6 strings concert pitch. So now we go back to this fretted 7th note, B, and I'm adjusting the bridge first. The reason we come up this high to the 7th fret is because we want to get away from the sharpening effect of the nut. The nut obviously needs to be high enough for the strings to clear the fingerboard. So that back tension we'll deal with at the nut when we cut the compensated values. But right now, it's the bridge that we're concentrating on. So here's a B. So I want to actually tune that fretted note, B. So this is a kind of a firm touch, but I'm not death gripping it. Like a confident fretting touch. 5th string, 7th fret, E. And corresponding octave. Whew, beautiful. I've already intonated that saddle. This is intonating way better than it was, if you remember, earlier on in the video. There's our, I'm going to give that a little bit of a tug, brand new string. Again, this note, fretted note, and octave. Okay, so that is substantially flat. So that's going to need to be chased right to the leading edge of that saddle. I'm marking it right on the saddle. When I take it out, I'll file that focal point forward. Okay, so G string. 7th fret on the 2nd string is F sharp. Again, you got to remember this. I know that there's a lot of confusion in the classes over this. You're actually tuning the, not the open string, you're tuning the fretted note. So, okay, so it's a little sharp. Drop that down. Again, F sharp. Okay. Octave. Okay, so that's a little bit flat. 1st string, 7th fret, B. And the octave. Ever so slightly flat. Before we go adjusting anything up here, we got to take care of the bridge. So the rub marks on the saddle here actually indicate where the focal point is at this point. So there's not a lot to play with here, but we can move that. All 3 of those strings need to move forward a little bit. Fret the 12th fret, and then the open string. So that string on the compensated nut is good. That's good too. And the E is good. Okay, our last step then is all of these strings are really high. I'm going to work them down a little closer and then we'll throw the camera back on. Another word of caution for you that are sort of doing a compensated nut those first few times. Don't bring it down to the final height. Because right now, I brought it down, it's just about final height. But you want to leave enough, in this case, I need to tighten up that truss rod a little bit because we've got the bluegrass strings on, which are just slightly heavier than what was on the D'Addario EJ19s in this case. Instead of 12 to 53, it's 12 to 56. So I'm not putting a lot of torque on there. Kind of went through the neutral zone in this 2-way rod and then just added enough pressure to, I'm going to just, before I pull that key out, I'll have a look at the neck. These are medium strings, so I'm going to give it even a little bit more, and then I'll pull that key out. Once again, this was just a T-handle that I cut off, and because you really need a long key to get to that truss rod adjustment in the Martin guitar. Here's the final take on the open string and 1st fret. Well, you can see there's way more geometry with this type of nut because the bottom of the nut is actually canted on an angle, the same angle as a headstock. Then you've got the shelf overlapping, which needs to touch all the way across. And then you've got your compensated nut values. So there's a lot going on. We're just making this thing look pretty now. Okay, we've got this Clarence white compensated nut and compensated saddle. I'm going to do a little bit differently this time. Open string, 12th fret. Open string, 1st fret. 7th fret and octave. 12th fret. Open string, 1st fret. 7th fret. And corresponding octave. So that's it, and then all your regular chords. C. Another little test I use, which is like a C form. Move it up 2 frets to D. And then move it right up to the 8th and 10th fret for a G version of that C form. So this guitar now plays beautifully. No struggle whatsoever. Super easy to play. I don't have to death grip to produce a chord. So here's some more of those 1-6-10 intervals. So I decided to play all of the notes across the entire span of the neck on each string to show just how accurate the tuning is. And it is super accurate. So let me show you what I had to do on this guitar, because the saddle as well as the nut needed to be intonated to get this thing to line up that accurately. So much like I had to do on John Till's J45 Gibson, I had to do the same thing on this Martin to get it to intonate perfectly. So you can see this is the thickness of the original saddle, 3/32. So I had to sort of actually cantilever, much like the intonated nut, towards the sound hole to get that first string, second string, third string, and fourth string to tune perfectly. Any note, any fret, anywhere, this guitar is now perfectly in tune. And of course, this end, we've got the compensated nut. So this is set up for the 12 to 56 strings, the bluegrass strings at concert pitch. You heard it, undisputable. That's why I did the before and after on this guitar, to illustrate clearly the difference between a guitar that was a struggle to play, that never quite played in tune, to what we have now, this lovely Clarence white commemorative that plays perfectly in tune and is an absolute joy to play. Silky smooth action, even with those 12 to 56 strings. And thanks again to all my subscribers, YouTube subscribers as well as Patreon subscribers, and of course my former students. Jason was here today to pick up his compensated nut package, and he's on board with this thing as well. Cheers.